talk about exporting step files. This command is actually pretty handy. So if we say export step for the model function here, this will actually take the active model as the default, and you can also give it a new name or a subdirectory and a new name to write to. And then also you have these other options that you can specify regarding the step. So it is important to note that the step configuration file within Creo, which specification you're using, is also a factor here. So if you're using the config.pro settings or you're seeing outputs that you don't expect, go take a look at the config.pro settings because that's really kind of what has a bigger impact on the step export than anything. This command just initializes that process. So if we run this just as it is, you'll notice that the step file has been generated, and it's been generated down here as a single file. So the current file that was in session is what was generated. I'm just assembling this back in so we can confirm that it's been generated correctly. And you can see that, in fact, here is our original, and then here is our step file that's been re-imported. So I'm going to erase memory, and let's open up that speaker again. And now let's do something a little bit more interesting with this. Now, there's a couple things that I want you to notice here, and that is that the step file also generates a log file. It kind of get a little bit cluttery and messy, so we're going to write this off to a subdirectory. And in order to do that, we're actually going to do a dir delete first, and then a dir create. And the reason for this is that since this is a little bit of automation here, I want to be able to have a clean location to write to. So I'm going to create this directory called my step files. In this case, we'll call this my speaker ASM, maybe, as the file name it's going to write to. And I'm just going to show off a little bit here and put in speaker.asm, and we'll do a couple of different file exports here just so we can kind of see how this works. So if I can copy this, copy, paste. Okay. So we'll also do basket.prt, and also let's do screen.prt. So instead of my speaker, we'll call this my basket as my step file and my screen. Okay. So what this little routine is going to do is it's going to delete a directory if it exists. It's going to step over to, if it doesn't, obviously, it's going to create the new directory. And it's going to write down our current content. So this is a basis for a very simple, straightforward automation. And as you can see here, we have our subdirectory. And we also have our 3-step files that have been created. If I grab, for example, my screen and drag it in here, it should detect it as a part and load it in for me. We'll say OK. And if we do the same thing on our basket here, it should detect that as a component, bring that in also. So very simple, easy to use piece of functionality. And this is the foundation for doing some more sophisticated automations. There is a table version of this command that you should definitely take a look at, especially if you're going to be working with a lot of different files and you need to process things in a more efficient way.